Hello everybody. Today we're going to be doing a Jenos coaching video for my boy Carl Sagan 62. This is something I'm going to try and start doing more often. One thing I want to start it off with is I don't want you guys to flame anyone in the comments for how they're playing in these coaching videos or anything like that. For one, it's going to make it so people don't want to submit their gameplay to do these coaching videos because they're just going to be afraid of what you guys are going to say in the comments. And two, the people that are submitting their footage for these videos are only looking to get better, and you know that's a trait that we should all have. So one thing that I want to start this off with is in a Jenos video. So in a Jenos game, when you're starting it, one of the first things that you want to look for is the enemy team. You're going to look at like where you can get an easy kill. So with your ult, obviously. So looking at their other team, it looks like the only time that you're going to be able to get a kill with your ult is on the Leon after she uses her movement and doesn't have it up, or on the Grok after he uses his movement and doesn't get it up. You can also use your ult this game for the Nara when she's ulting. That's a pretty free Jenos ult. It usually won't kill her unless she's below half health, but it'll do some damage. With the Grover running 5 in DR this game, it makes it so he can just heal until live your ult. So you're not really going to look for ulting him unless he's in his ultimate. Another thing you want to look for while you're looking for good Jenos ultimates is you want to look for things on your team that are able to CC the enemy. So we don't really have good ultimates to combo with. Like, for example, if the Nara and Ashe were on your team, and Ashe ults 2 people, it stuns them. You could throw your ult out and hit 2 people. A Nara, same thing there. But we don't really have a lot of CC to set up our ultimate this game. The only CC it's looking like that can set up our ultimate is the Amani Orb. So we could try and look for ults off of roots that the Amani gets here. But so moving on, we want to look at the deck here. This is actually one of my decks. This is probably what I feel like you should go to start off with in most Jenos games. The only time that I would say that you should differ from this is running 3 in this card and 5 in this card if it's a smaller map. The only real map I can think of is like Frog Isle or Bright Marsh. But even then, if you have a flanker, you're going to want 4 in the range card because they're probably going to be playing behind the enemy team most of the time. So good build here and pretty tough ultimate game. So we're going to see how that works out. We want to probably try to keep a heal on the Andro most of the time this game. That's something you want to try and look for. Whenever you have a flanker, having a Jenos heal on the flanker the entire game is going to really help enable your flanker to do what he wants to do. So you want to try and keep a heal on the Jenos through a majority of the game. Now we're going to start rolling through this. We're going to probably do most of this at 1 under the normal speed, which is this, just to really evaluate what's going on. Right here he starts at circle, that's what we'll call that, and then he runs over to tunnel. But I feel like you could have probably just started in the tunnel, because you know you can heal through walls in Jenos. We accidentally heal the Andro again. He probably meant to heal the Barrack there, so I'm not going to be too critical on it. But the Barrack should have gotten the heal there.
First blood. An enemy has drawn first blood.
So everything's going good fine. Right here, he throws the heal on the Ruckus. Playing in a safe position. Right here, he's looking... So right here, let's take a different angle here. So the Amani is like way in a safe spot. No one's going to be able to touch her. She's low, so like out of force of habit, you want to throw a heal on the person who's low. But if you look to your left, the Andro's in the middle of fighting 2 people over here. So Andro's the one that you want to heal. I think he ends up healing the Amani here, and the Andro ends up dying. So yeah, I'm not sure if the Andro would have lived with the heal, but it would have probably helped him there. Right here, we're playing in a safe spot. Everything's going fine. Good heals so far. Amani ends up getting a pick on the Grok and gets out. That's big. Ruckus is a little bit low. They're all playing on the right side here. Right here, he heals the point tank. I think he could have probably just healed the Ruckus and been fine. The point tank was already at full health. Also, another thing you want to look for when you're... Oh, what the hell is that sound? Okay. Also, another thing you want to look for when you're healing on Jenos is the Barrack has healing station 5 this game, so he has a lot of self-heal in himself, and he's also running Architectonics, so he's going to probably have those turrets down around him a lot of the time. So he's not going to need as many heals this game as other people, so that's just something you want to keep in mind. But yeah, the Ruckus should have probably got that heal there because he was playing in an aggressive position and a little bit lower health, but it's working out fine. He pushes up here. Probably could play a bit more aggressive right here. You guys have a 4v3, so I feel like you shouldn't feel afraid right now. He could probably be playing like right here and shooting the Nara and doing the same things that he's doing back there. Get some left clicks in, but I feel like he should be getting a bit more in here. They have a big lead, so he should be trying to push with his team to boost that lead. Right here, he's just kind of chilling and looking at a wall. But if he was chilling like right here or right here, he could have been helping his team out over here. So that's just something you want to look forward to when you have a big player lead.
Escort the payload.
So they don't end up getting the touch, but one thing you also want to look for when you're on Jenos, the Ashe ended up just mounting up to try and touch, but if she would have just dismounted and charged in, she probably could have got the touch. So if he was hovering like right here, you want to just look for a grab on someone, like your lift on someone who's coming to try and touch the point, because that can stop them from getting to the point, and that's always a good thing you want to look to try and do. Right here he dies, but I mean, that's Grockle. I don't think he really could have done anything different there. Maybe just suicide earlier because we know that he's already going to die. But it's not really a big deal. So we're going to speed things up here a little bit. Slow it back down. Right here the Ashe is in the choke. I like this ult here. Oh, I think I slowed it down too much. Yeah, I did. My bad. But the ult doesn't actually end up killing the... Let me pause so I can talk about this quick. So the ult doesn't actually end up killing the Ashe there, but I still like it because they were on a really aggressive zone. And without that ult, the Ashe would have probably been up there a lot longer, which would have stalled a lot of time. Anytime someone goes in like a choke like this, or a choke like the one over here, that's a good time for a Jenos ult because they can't really do anything to avoid it. One thing I think he did wrong here is right here, instead of walking to the left, if he would have walked to the right in this tunnel, he could have probably left-clicked the Leon because his whole team, the other team, is all really, really far back. And he's at full health, so don't be afraid to get aggressive in these situations. He could have probably gotten the Leon really low or killed her right there. And I'm pretty sure they don't end up getting this kill. So Andrew dies there. The Ruckus is stalling a lot of time in the back line, so you guys can just keep fighting up here. This is a really good lift on the Ashe. This is something that I think most Genoses should be looking for. When an Ashe charges, you can use your lift, and it'll not only stop her charge, but it takes the full cooldown of her charge. So that's something you want to really be looking to do, especially against charge Ashes in particular, which it's not this game, it's Shield Ashe, but regardless, that's a good lift. It ended up leading to a kill. So right here, he was just trying to push up to kill the Ruckus, but this is the type of aggression I want to be seeing. Like, they have a really passive comp, and there's not really that much that can punish your aggression. So don't be afraid to, when you're full health, just walk up a little bit and take some trades with people. Try to play around corners so you can have cover next to you, but that was some good aggression there, and it led to a kill on Leon. So right here, I think this is fine. He's still trying to get the heal on the Ruckus, so this is a fine spot to play. So right here, he gets the heal on the Ruckus. I feel like he should probably try and back up to the rock behind him instead of playing in the tunnel at this point. Barry's really low. Usually you don't want to heal the same person twice in Jenos, but since the Ruckus was that low, I probably would have done the same thing, so I don't blame him there. So he's looking for the Amani heal. It's a good lift on the Ashe here. I almost get the kill. So one thing I want to say about this is, so there's a minute left on the clock. I'm just going to let it run through while I talk. There's a minute left on the clock. So like now is the prime time for the enemy team to be wanting to use their ults so they could get him back for the next mid. So after he healed the Ruckus, he probably should have been playing like right here, looking up here and shit, or playing back here. Either one of those wouldn't have allowed Ashe to bonk her head real quick, and you would have probably been able to kill her off the lift, or at least not get stunned and die to it. So if he would have just played back here, he probably would have avoided that. When there's a minute left, you just got to be real careful. That's probably the perfect time for the enemy team to be using their ults. So you want to keep that stuff in mind. Right here, we're just chilling, waiting for the enemy team to regroup. Or your team to regroup. He heals the Barrack twice there. He could probably throw a heal to Ruckus or someone that's coming back on mount. Right here, the Barrack was just up too far without the team, and he ends up dying. It's pretty unfortunate. So we're healing the Ruckus here. That's fine.
30 seconds remaining.
So at this point, I feel like instead of playing like this safe, you can maybe push up right here and try to shoot some stuff. You probably don't have LOS of anything, and your team keeps dying, so it's pretty unfortunate. You don't want to really push up. But I see a lot of people pushing up through here and playing around tree. Instead, you usually want to push up like right here and just hug this wall right here. It blocks a lot of the LOS when you're just hugging this wall, and it's a lot safer of a retreat than if you're playing around this tree and you have to back up here where you're in the wide open, all the way to here where you're in the wide open until you finally get behind circle again. So at this point, it's not really looking like they're going to get this push. No one on their team should be using ultimates. Gonna speed this up a little bit. Looks like it's pretty much over with. Like I said, see right here, when he's playing around that wall, anyone playing in this side, this middle pillar, cannot see him. The only people who could see him are playing on this very right side of this pillar, so that's where I want to see him playing most of the time for these regroups.
10, 9, 8,
So everything's going fine here.
6,
No ults coming out.
4,
Team's just kind of dying. Can't really help that.
1.
Got a nice little BM emote in. Although I would have probably farmed damage, but that's just because I'm greedy. So right here, he ends up buying Rizzo. And I don't really agree with that. They only really have Nara and Ashe for their stuns on their team. And I feel like I'd rather just save up for Chronos 3 at this point. So for those of you guys who don't know, when you get Chronos 2 on Jenos, with this deck, you can start to throw a right click, which is your heal, onto 3 separate people at a time, with there only being a 2-second downtime on the first person that you healed. But with Chronos 3, it's only a 1-second downtime, which is a pretty big difference. And you can pretty much heal 3 people constantly throughout the whole game. So most games you want to try and just save up for that Chronos 3 and rush that. Went for an ult here. I don't know why that card keeps popping up, but we went for an ult there. I don't actually mind the ultimate. Because the Grover does have 5 in DR, so the only time you're going to be able to kill him is while he's in Grover ult. Jenos is pretty tough in this game as well, so just throwing him out like that isn't a bad idea. If he threw it a little bit more to the right, he might have been able to get the Grover, so I'm alright with the ult there. You guys are up a player right now, so it's alright to hold these aggressive positions. You can't really be punished. Right there, he reloaded at like 17 ammo. You don't need to reload unless you're like below half a clip, so I think it's the second time I've seen him do that this game. Just something to keep in mind. Right here, you probably want to be shooting this Ashe. I think if you would have been shooting this Ashe, the Andrew would have lived there. So, you guys were up. You probably just want to kill whoever's on cap at that time. Right here's a little bit of an odd place to be standing on Jenos for the zone. I don't really mind it, because you're just kind of looking for the zone. You want to make sure no one touches. So the Ruckus is walled in there. Alright, so he ends up dying there. I feel like that's not because he's playing this position, or rather it's because he was playing that position, and instead of backing up, so if you're gonna play in this position, you need to make sure you back up to the left or through here, because that way the person playing up there won't be able to see you. He just kind of ran into their LOS and ended up dying for it there. So, I mean, he got punished for playing that aggressive. He probably should have just been playing safer, or around the rock over there. So right here, he's just kind of standing over to the left. I feel like he should be playing, instead of just standing over here and not really doing anything, you should probably be playing like right here, just poking around, seeing what's there, you know, getting more info. Right there, you don't really have any info on anything at all. I know you're waiting for your team to regroup, but you could still just be poking around, building your ult charge, doing things like that while you're waiting. Also, I didn't notice this, but he bought Rezel too. So that's 750 credits that could have gone towards Chronos 3. So whenever he hits 450 credits, that's when he could have Chronos 3 at this point. So I'm pretty sure he hasn't been CC'd at this point, so he hasn't gotten any value out of Rezel as well. Andrew needs a heal. You could probably be playing a bit more aggressive here to get it to him. He ends up dying. If you would have been standing like right where you are instead of all the way over there, you probably would have been able to heal the Andrew when he was like back there and trying to go in. So at this point, we're just kind of staring here. We want to be... You're in an even fight, so you're not even down. You need to be contributing to the damage and left clicking more. At this point, your team's falling apart. And now you just gotta retreat. Retreating over here isn't that bad of an idea, but he probably could have also just retreated through the tunnel over there and been fine. This was probably the safest way though. So again, he's just kind of chilling over here, where you don't really have any information, you can't really do any damage. I'd like to see him play where the Ruckus is playing and helping out over there. He'd have more info, could build his ult charge, and could poke more. So he heals Amani right here, but that one should have probably went to Barrack because of how far the Barrack was playing up. The Money's in a pretty safe position. I know you want to give damage to your damage dealer, but I think the Barrack needed the heal here. So the Barrack ended up falling without a heal. He ended up pushing up to this tree. I think he dies for it. Yeah, he does. So like I said, when you're pushing up here, you want to like push up like right here. So you have this... This gives you much more, this wall actually gives you a lot more cover than backing up through here. Like, I feel like this tree's a bait. Like, you feel safe while you're standing here, but then as soon as you have to back up, you're just in the wide open. And if you're gonna back up, you should probably back up through here and use the wall as your cover. So right here, I actually ended up missing it because I was talking about the last point, but he was coming out of spawn, and he saw that the Ashe was playing aggressive through here. And so, with the Ashe playing aggressive like that, and your team being in the player advantage, instead of looking for the heal on the Amani, he should have probably just been looking to lift the Ashe whenever she used it. Like, playing around this tunnel and just shoulder peeking like this. And whenever he uses the dash, you just lift him. He would have ended up dying for it, so that's a kill that he could have got. And he didn't. We'll see if they end up finishing the Ashe off here if she lives because of it. Also, by the way, one thing I want to note, look at his credits. He could have had Chronos 3 at this point if he didn't invest into Rezel so much. So at this point, he could be healing 3 people almost constantly. He also hasn't been CC'd once since he's bought in Rezel, so he didn't get any value out of it.
Enemies behind us. Thank you, my friend.
Look up! Behind us! Step into the light and perish of the stars.
I actually don't mind this ult, but I'm going to tell you the reason why I think it's bad, and it's not because it missed. So the reason why I think it was a bad ult is because there's only 39 seconds left on the clock, and your team hasn't pushed the payload at all. So even if everything goes according to plan and you hit the Ashe and the Grover there, more than likely you're not going to push this cart, and more than likely you're not going to build your ult for the next mid. So you kind of just blew your ult, which you won't have for the next mid now. But if it was a little bit more to the right, it would have probably hit too and been a decent ult. But again, it's not because the ult missed that it was bad. I just think the timing of it was bad.
Enemy killing spree.
Again, you're just kind of going to this left side where you don't really have any info and you're away from your team. I feel like you're better off just going towards where your Amani is, playing around this ramp.
Seconds remaining.
So at this point, it's looking like you guys aren't going to push. Now you just got to focus on trying to build your ult. Heal on Barrack here. He does. Pretty sure the Barrack's dead though. The lift on Ashe wasn't bad here. It forced her to back up when she could have pressured you. So at this point, instead of walking back forward there, you guys are already down people. Well, actually, yeah, because the Leon's coming back. You guys are actually pretty much even right now. But with the team being right here, you probably wanted to back up over here where you would have been safer as opposed to being in the open here. Let's see if it ends up punishing him. So he tries backing up there. I think he ends up living. So yeah, he actually ended up doing it, which was the right call. I think he just should have done it a little bit sooner.
8, 7.
At this point, you're probably not even touching. You should probably just be poking, like peeking right here. Just trying to poke, build your ult charge.
5, 3, 2.
Reloading with 15 bullets. You could have just kept left clicking.
Enemy killing spree.
It's really minuscule things there, though. So we'll page up so we can get to the next thing. So again, he could have had Chronos 3 at this point, and then he could have probably started to buy Rezo. So he ends up buying Cot here, so let's see what his team's buying. So his team already has, literally everyone on his team already has Cot 3, so I feel like you don't need the Cot. It's not really doing anything. You're probably not the only one shooting at a target anyways, so you don't need Cot at this point. You could either invest into more Rezo, or you could invest into defensive items like Haven or Blast Shields. This game, it'd probably be Blast Shields with Leon. Leon presence is Blast. Most of her abilities are Blast, plus the Ashe. I feel like that's what's shooting you the most this game. So we're going to slow it down a little bit. I like that he moved up in the tunnel here. He could have probably done it a little sooner. That's a fine spot to play. Heal order's fine. I like what he's doing. So they're trying... So right here, the Grok ends up dying, and they're actually 3v3 because the Amani get dropped. You could probably be playing a little bit farther aggressive. Like I said though, if instead of going over here and playing around this area, if you would have just played right here, those people on the left side wouldn't be able to shoot you at all, and you'd still be able to poke around cap. You can also push up from here to here and get another angle on point where you're going to do a little bit more damage because you have less fall off at that point. The only thing you have to be careful of is the other team flanking through your mid if you stand here, at which point you'd have to run over there onto their side. So I feel like he should be playing over here more than he is. Okay, so at this point he's playing over here. And about right here, he can hear, unless he's not playing with sound or listening to music or something, you can hear the Leon is pushing you. And I think he can tell the Leon's pushing him because you see him start like aiming over that way. But you're not going to win this 1v1. So you're in a pretty tough spot. Your best chances are probably to either go here, but the Ashe has LOSU, or you have to play around this fountain and just try and LOS while your teammate comes back to you. But he ends up trying to take this 1v1 against the Leon. You're just going to die there.
Enemy killing spree.
Andrew ended up trading it, but if he would have ended up playing here, he might have been able to stall enough time for the Andrew to come and help him. Or at least to the point where the Leon would have had to run away because the Andrew was coming back. Speed it up here, wait till he comes back. Alright, we're gonna slow it down here. So healer just fine here. Gets aggro onto the Nara, and that's like what I've been trying to say the entire game. Their whole team is passive. They're all playing back there. They're not really aggressive. So look how little DPS you took just to run up here and shoot the Inara. You could have probably been doing this the entire game. When you get low, just out of combat in the back, you can still heal while out of combating. So I feel like you should have been trying to do this more often this game. Now is the time where you should reload. Yep. So he already had a heal on the Ruckus there. And it would have lasted for 3 more seconds. So he should have probably just healed the Barrack here, even though I'm pretty sure he's already dead. Regardless. Cleans up the Ashe here. Now at this point you gotta realize that they have 3 people alive and you only have 2. So you probably want to get the hell out. It's 50-50 on the cap right now. And if everything goes right, the Barrack should be able to respawn and touch on time as long as you stay alive. So we'll see if he backs up here. Sees the Leon's pushing him. He didn't end up backing up. That was a really ballsy ult. I think he did it because he knew he was going to die soon, so he felt a need to use his ult. But the Leon didn't use her movement, so there's no way in hell you hit that ult. Again, the Amani's already backed out to house, so at this point you're the farthest forward person by yourself. You should have probably just backed up as soon as it was a 2v3. Pretty sure you're dead. Yeah, you ended up dying. Let's see if they're going to be able to get the touch here, if it would have made a difference. So the Barrack ends up actually getting by unmounted. So the Barrack, I'm pretty sure doesn't actually end up touching, but he could theoretically boots onto the point and touch. I'm pretty sure he's not touching because the healer's dead, so it's pointless, he'd just die anyways. But if he stayed alive, he might have just touched here.
Stop the payload. Escort the payload.
Switch back over here. Got caught 2. At this point, you have 4 caught 3s and a caught 2. You could probably just invest in other stuff instead of caught. You don't really need it. Right here, he's playing the ramp, which is where I want to see him playing more. Yeah, and ends up killing the Andro. Can't really prevent that. Healer's fine here. Ruckus is in more danger than Omani, so you throw it on him instead. The Ruckus needs to back up here, but you can't really do anything about that. Good heal, help him get out. On the barrack at this point, so instead of playing like right here, where you're not really doing anything except being a heal bot, you could probably play like right here, shooting the Ashe, shooting the Nara, pressuring them, instead of just being a heal bot in the back where you're not really left clicking at all. Trying to push up and kill the Andro, he can't. It's fine. Andro did probably need a heal there though. I would have probably just pushed up into this tunnel and tried to heal him. So at this point he hears the Grackle, and I don't really mind that he's running into spawn. This is one of those times where you don't want to be playing aggressive, because Jenos being caught in a Grackle, it's just gonna die. So your team's falling apart, you're down people, you probably just have to play in spawn, which is fine. It's the right call here. See how you got the fucking Inara to half health there? That's what you could have been doing this entire game if you were just playing a little bit more aggressive and using your left click more. That's definitely killing Leon. Cleans it up. It's good. Ruckus is low, so I don't mind the double heal on him. It's a good lift on the Ashe. Ends up leading to a kill there. Shield Ashe can't do anything when you lift her. Like, if she charges out, she doesn't have the DR. So people can still just shoot her a bunch while she's in the lift, even if she's charging out. And if she drops a shield, she's still above the shield. So just lifting the Ashe there is really good. Ends up leading to a kill. Let's page up here a bit. So Andrew's a bit too aggressive. He ends up getting a kill here, so it's not too bad if he dies. But he was probably up too far. He actually almost got the Grover. It's pretty close. But yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. You guys are down a person, so at this point, you guys gotta probably back up. They call him VRR. Retreat, retreat. At this point. Ruckus actually ends up killing the Grok there, so you guys are even at this point. You're playing over on this left side, and you can't really see anything. So at this point, you're really just a heal bot. You're not contributing to the damage at all. So it's basically a 3v4 because the Grover is attacking. If instead of playing on this wall, you would have just played like up here, you could have probably poked them as they walked up and then backed over there. Or ideally, you would have probably just been playing mid at this circle and shooting them as they walked up and then backing out through here.
30 seconds remaining.
Step into the light and perish.
So he actually ulted for the Leon there. And it ends up hitting the Ashe. I think it got pretty lucky that it ended up hitting the Ashe. But I don't mind this ult here. It's 2-3. If they push it in, you're going to lose. So you got to do something. And Jenos ult's not a huge deal this game. So just throwing it out there like that's not a bad idea. But good damage on the Ashe. Comes over. He's trying to contest point.
15 seconds remaining.
Let's slow it down. They end up getting the Nara here. That was good. Good heal order.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
So he went to heal the barrack there, and it actually ended up going on Amani. That's pretty unfortunate because the barrack really needed a heal right now.
Overtime.
If you would have healed that Barrack there instead of the Money, I know it was an accident, but you would have been able to heal the Andro sooner. This is a really good lift on the Ashe. Just completely negates her shield. Ends up leading to a kill, so that was really good. That heal should have probably went to Amani. They end up killing the Leon off it though. Oh, damn, that's pretty unfortunate. I'm pretty sure you guys would have ended up defending that if Barrack didn't get off the cap there, so that's pretty unlucky and out of your control. But there are a few things I do want to note about this game. So a few things I want to see you do differently. So I want to see you play a bit more aggressive into a passive comp like that. You could have probably played at a bit more aggressive spots, left clicked a little more, and you would have helped out your team more, also built your ult faster. Another thing I saw you do a lot is I saw you reload when you were at like 17 bullets left. You probably don't have to reload that often on Jenos unless you're below half a clip. So try not to reload as much. Another thing I want to see you do, instead of rushing, instead of going from Chronos 2 into Rezo into Caught, most cases I want to see you rush into Chronos 3. So ideally what I would have built that game would have probably been, I would have just saved up for Chronos 3 and bought that first. And then I do agree with the Rezo with the Nara Ashe. It's a safe play. Also Grover Cripple, it's going to stop your movement. So Rezo 2 will reduce the amount of time that's going to be on you. So I agree with the Rezo, but I probably would have went Chronos 3 into Rezo. And then after that, I don't think you need Cauterize with your team already having 4 Caught 3s. So at that point, you probably want to just go into another defensive item like Haven or Blast Shields, which it probably would have been Blast Shields that game. So that's it for this game, everyone. A lot of this stuff's just like little microscopic differences that you could have done differently, but a lot of positioning things. And like I said again, guys, try not to roast the gameplay too much. People are only doing this to try to improve, and I want to help people who are trying to improve. So thanks for watching this. Sorry it's a little long. I just tried to really go in detail with this video. So thanks for watching.